America will retaliate with a devastating strike against Russia's military if Vladimir Putin uses nuclear weapons in Ukraine, the United States Army's former European commander has warned. Retired Lieutenant General Ben Hodges today said any response by America may not be nuclear, but warned that if Putin were to use nukes in Ukraine that the US could look to destroy the Black Sea Fleet or destroy Russian bases in Crimea. His comments come after the Russian premier sent shockwaves around the world, as he announced the partial mobilization of his reserve military forces to continue his murderous invasion of Ukraine. And in a chilling warning directed squarely at Western and NATO leaders, desperate despot Putin insisted he would use all means necessary to defend swathes of territory seized or set to be annexed by Kremlin forces before threatening to use nuclear weapons. If there is a threat to the territorial integrity of our country, and in protecting our people, we will certainly use all means to us, and I'm not bluffing, he then added during his televised address to the Russian people on Wednesday morning. General Hodges, who commanded the US Army in Europe between 2014 and 2018, stressed the possibility of Putin ordering a nuclear strike on Ukraine was very unlikely. But he said the use of any strategic weapons of mass destruction would be met with a swift and severe reaction from President Joe Biden. He, Putin, knows the US will have to respond if Russia uses a nuclear weapon. The US response may not be nuclear, but could very well be a devastating strike that could, for example, destroy the Black Sea Fleet or destroy Russian bases in Crimea. So, I think President Putin and those around him will be reluctant to draw the US into the conflict directly. In a scathing attack on the West, Putin today falsely accused NATO of seeking to launch military action onto Russian territory. Speaking from behind a wooden desk, Putin told Russian viewers on state-controlled television, in its aggressive anti-Russian policies, the West has crossed all lines. We constantly hear threats against our people, and some irresponsible politicians in the West are talking about not just providing Ukraine with long-range military systems that will be able to hit Russia. That is already happening. We're talking about the border regions, in Belgrade, and systems using strategic drones, planes, doing reconnaissance across the south. There are plans in Washington and Brussels to move the military action onto Russian territory. They are not just talking about Russia being destroyed on the battlefield, they are talking about political, cultural, and all other types of sovereignty with complete pillage. Now they're talking about nuclear blackmail. Potential areas of attack for the US, if Russia does launch a nuclear strike, could include the naval port of Sevastopol on Crimea's western coast, which has been occupied by the Kremlin's forces since the peninsula was annexed in 2014. Worried, Moscow has already moved some of its Kilo-class attack submarines from the Crimean Peninsula to southern Russia over fears of them being struck by long-range Ukrainian fire, according to British intelligence. In a daily briefing on Tuesday, the UK's Ministry of Defence said those submarines had almost certainly been moved to Krasnodar Krai in mainland Russia, instead of a naval base at Sevastopol on the Crimean Peninsula. The move comes as Putin faces the possible collapse of his so-called special military operation after a stunning Ukrainian counterattack last week, which has seen Russian forces in the northwest driven back over the Ukrainian border. With reported manpower issues and a critical shortage of military gear, Putin doubled down on his assault of Ukraine, announcing the partial mobilization of 300,000 military reservists, a first in Russia since the Second World War, and referendums in occupied areas of Ukraine to make them part of Russia.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. He's doing the job every day.